next guest's new book says the key to understanding overfishing may lie in the story of one special fish, specifically a tuna fish.
Yeah, and here to tell us more is investigative food systems journalist and author of Kings of Our Own Ocean, Tuna Obsession, and the Future of Our Seas is Karen Pinchin. Welcome to the show.
This is such a cool book, Karen. So you start this off with how at one point in time, tuna was like a nothing fish. No one cared about it, had no value. All of a sudden, it turns into this multi-billion-dollar industry. How the heck did that happen?
Yeah, and that started because of the Canadian story behind it. And that's the story I tell in this book. Yeah. And so essentially, this fish was worth nothing. They called it horse mackerel because it was essentially that, a mackerel the size of a horse. And fishermen hated it. It broke their nets. All the other fish would escape, like cod and haddock. And those are the fish people wanted to eat. Nobody wanted to eat the red, bloody, fleshed bluefin tuna. And these were the days before refrigeration. So what are you gonna do with like a 500-pound fish, right? Until the market in Japan blew up. And all of a sudden, one of these fish shipped from PEI to Tokyo went for $18 a pound. That's $50,000 in today's dollars.
So one fish you could probably
Single
live
fish.
off
Send
for
your
a
kids
year.
to university, buy a truck, but there was virtually no regulation at the time. And so that you're setting up this environmental disaster, right?
Did that lead to the billion-dollar black market?
Exactly.
Can you tell us more about that?
So where there's that much money to be made, there's gonna be people trying to go around the loopholes. So specifically in Europe, what they would do is you would have, each fish needs to have a certificate. So what they would do is they would kill more fish than they were allowed to, tie them under the water to the bottom of the net, and then scuba divers would bring them up in the middle of the night, put them on trucks, and ship them all over Europe. And people were getting sick. It was, it was really terrible. The nice thing in Canada is that it's so well regulated. We don't have that loophole here.
All right, so Karen, you made the decision to center your book on one particular fish by the name of Amelia, which we can discuss that naming, and the fisherman who caught and released her. Tell us why you made that decision.
Yeah, so at the core of the book is an idea called tagging. So think about it. It's a tiny little fish tag. You put it into a fish. You put the fish back in the ocean. That's the science that we've had for hundreds of years to tell us how we're taking care of these species. And so the fisherman I write about, Al Anderson, he was a difficult guy. You know, he was really mean and horrible to the people around him sometimes, but he caught and tagged 60,000 fish in his lifetime.
Wow.
Yeah, and those fish, including Amelia, give us data, where they go, where they breed, and this one fish, Amelia, as she crossed the Atlantic Ocean, like Amelia Earhart, the aviator.
I get it.
Another proud woman. She was caught off the southern coast of Portugal and killed. And so, you know, the fact that she crossed the Atlantic Ocean, that changed everything in this story.
Why was that piece of information so groundbreaking, though?
Yeah, so in 1981, all the countries that fished bluefin tuna drew a line down the 45-degree angle down the Atlantic Ocean.
Oh, there it is,
and all the fish on the European side, those are your fish, and all the fish on the Canadian-US side, those are our fish. Do you know who did not know about that? The fish. When they don't know about borders. They don't know about borders. So they've been crossing that line for thousands of years. And so with this tagging data, we're starting to see that we're understanding the fish on its own terms. And that's how we have to understand it and protect it.
Wow. The book also, you know, ends on rather a positive note, that the future of the species is surprisingly hopeful. How so?
Yeah, so when I started working on this book, I was expecting tragedy, sadness. Think about it, we grew up, save the bluefin, don't eat bluefin tuna. But what ended up happening is scientists, they started getting all this information. Chefs, like Dennis, right, started taking the fish off their menus, not serving it. Customers started saying, no, we will not eat it. And all of these people together created this kind of net of recovery for this species. And so what bluefin tuna does in Kings of Their Own Ocean is essentially give us a framework for how do we save other species? How do we fight climate change in this kind of interdisciplinary way?
All right, so I eat a lot of tuna.
Girl, same.
I know. So thinking, how do you recommend people eat tuna and be responsible at the same time?
So like everything, moderation is key, right? I will eat it a couple times a week, only when it's in season. I have an app called OceanWise. I bring it up on my phone. It shows you what restaurants in your local area will serve sustainable species.
Okay.
So you can eat fish really confidently. But ultimately, it goes down to two questions. Number one, where is it from? So in Atlantic Canada, bluefin tuna, it's, again, one of the best regulated fish in the country. Number two, how is it caught? You know, it sounds like a complicated question, but just say, like, do you know how this fish was caught? The restaurants know. The grocery stores know. You can ask for that information. So was it caught on rod and reel by a single fisherman? Was it harpooned by a single fisherman? If so, you are like good to go. You can eat that bluefin.
Okay,
That's good news. That's good news.
I want to go back to, I think it was Fisherman Al that was in some of your pictures. You know, what I hear he might have a little warm place in your heart. Is that true?
It is, yeah.
Why?
So before I started working on this book, my father passed away very suddenly from pancreatic cancer. But he was the person who taught me how to gut a fish before I knew how to do my hair, my makeup, you know. And so when I found Al, I kind of saw someone who was like my dad, and I could get obsessed with him and understand him and understand that, like, we don't need to be perfect to leave a meaningful legacy on this planet. And I think that's the hopeful.
That's
thing.
beautiful.
Thank you.
Wow. What a cool book and a cool route. And thank you so much for writing it.
Thank you for having me. Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. Hey, studio audience, you know what? It's your lucky day, because you're going home with a copy of Kings of Their Own Ocean yourself today.
Hey there, what did you think? Drop your comments below and join the conversation. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you can find more on everything from food and fashion to pop culture and current events. See you soon.